You know connection is important on remote teams, but you got to do it also efficiently. So start a timer. Oh, it's not scanning. Hold on. So what you get is this free, really lovely, extremely simple, no login, email, whatever required. You just immediately get a virtual deck of cards with some brilliant questions on it and multiple creative ways to use them. So I've got my friend Mark here, and he's also scanned the QR code.
Ready to go.
If you're on Zoom, Teams, or anywhere else, you just send the link through the chat, or you make your QR code and screen share it in a slide. And already you're doing something a little bit novel, which is instead of standing with a Zoom face, you are taking out your phone, you're interacting with your screen, just the novelty alone, like sparks the team's brain to wake up, something different is happening, tune in. So if Mark's the rest of the virtual team on the other side of the screen, Mark's just either click the link or scan a QR code with his phone. I'm gonna hold that up, choose a question that you would like to answer. Whoop. Oh, my swim team's texting me. Ooh, we're filming a video about icebreakers, and we haven't actually broken the ice. I am Chad Littlefield, the co-founder of We and Me, and creator of these We Connect cards, which you've just seen.
And I'm Mark Collard. I'm the CEO, founder of Playmio, and we just do one thing. We use group games and activities to help people connect. That's why we're standing here together.
And Mark, for this video, flew in all the way from Australia to where I am in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, to collaborate, put our two brains together, and bring you just some free, super useful stuff. Enjoy. So you've seen the cards. If that's exactly what you need, and you're like, you got a creative brain and you know just what to do with them and you don't need the rest of the video, you can go to the link in the description to weconnectcards.com and get access to those cards immediately. No email, sign up, trade, anything. It's just like, there you go, have it.
And if we've piqued your interest, there are hundreds, literally hundreds of other icebreakers that are ideal for a virtual environment for your remote team. And again, look in the description, ample links where you can get access to hundreds of these activities for free.
Okay, so what is the best, worst, or funniest job you have ever had? For me, and right, so this is, I'm gonna answer my own question because I've chosen it and taken the autonomy to say, I'm willing to share this with the rest of the group. For me, I used to work as a lifeguard at a beach that hazing was extremely present. And so I have a heap of stories about walking into a lot of surprises that maybe I wished I never was a part of. It was one of the best, but also probably, depending on the day, one of the worst. There you go.
For me, it was cleaning the engine of a door-to-door salesman. He lived 4 doors down the road from me. And that was something I did every Saturday, was go in, open up his boot, clean his engine. I don't know why this was so important to him, but it was kind of weird and kind of strange, but it was fun. And I got paid.
What did he sell?
He sold trinkets, like at roadhouses, where you'd have these little things that ordinarily, they're like souvenirs, but people might use them to adorn their kitchen or their lounge and stuff like that.
So an icebreaker for a remote team is, in my humble opinion, far more important than an icebreaker for a team that's in person. Because when you're in person with each other like this, and you can touch someone, we go to grab water and we can chat, we have lunch together in between. A remote team, you live in the vacuum of mute, you press end call, and now you're alone. And so you spend most of your time either on mute or alone. And so how do you expect people to connect when their dominant position is...
And I can't even see the bottom of you.
Right. We do have legs.
That's all, you do actually have legs.
Now, in my book and Mark's book, to be a good icebreaker that works for you and your team, you gotta connect to the purpose of why you're actually there. So while that was fun to learn about hazing and cleaning car engines, it's like, okay, we gotta go over quarterly numbers, or we have this lesson to teach, or whatever else. And so the beauty of this card deck is you can add context to the end of every question. So almost every question is designed in a way that you could add at work, or related to this project, or when you were 7. And it changes the entire deck of cards. And so you just add your purpose to the end of every question, and all of a sudden you're having topical discussions that also allow people to connect to each other.
And for example, if it's about exploring more about a project, that question connects directly to it because you need to dive in a little deeper. Neither of us knew that about each other in that silly little icebreaker question. Now it has meaning, it's got purpose, and connected to the purpose you actually turned up for.
So I'm going to go into a couple variations of how to use them. Feel free to add. One is really simply question of the day, QOTD, or question of the week. So if you're an established team and you're on any regular cadence of meeting, the problem with most meeting agendas that I have noticed on established teams is A, they don't exist, and they're just like, why are we meeting? Or the meeting is filled with sentences that end in periods. In other words, there's not a lot of space where you're asking for the contribution and perspective of everyone. And if you look at a map of what makes an effective team, you've got me talking and also Mark talking.
Exactly.
And splitting that difference and inviting that participation. And so really simply, if you got a once a week, once a month staff meeting, starting your meeting with a sentence that ends in a question mark can be very powerful. It's this idea of connection before content, which is a phrase we would both perhaps much prefer over the word icebreaker, right?
Absolutely.
That would be one.
Yeah.
Just a simple question of the week.
Yeah. I'll see that and add to it. So you may ask a question of everybody in the group and invite on the chat box in the chat room their answer to that question. And I know you'd like to call this curiosity ping pong. Love it. Use it in lots of different settings. So if you're looking for lots of different perspectives, invite people to enter their answer into the chat area, wait until you say go, and then when everyone appears to be ready, hit enter. And then it's like my inbox in the morning. It goes, it just fills with responses. Then give the group a little bit of time to digest. And they're actually going to learn what other people are thinking in this space. And if you've got a large group, there's actually plenty of places to hide. Because maybe you didn't respond because you didn't know how to, or were concerned that what you're going to share wasn't going to be safe enough. It's perfect. It actually works. I love that curiosity ping pong.
And so once everybody's typed in the chat, one, you've leveraged my favorite part about meeting remotely, which is everybody can speak at the exact same time. What we forget is that everybody can also listen at the exact same time as well. And so the idea of curiosity ping pong, once people have typed, then it's, what are you naturally curious about? Now off mute, ask this question, and you get to play back and forth with those. And so you bring conversation, you get everybody participating right away, good. And then you get to go a little bit deeper. And you can keep it going as long as the party's fun. And so this can be a 35-second, we're really busy, we got to get down to it, kind of an icebreaker, or you can extend it out and let those conversations spiral into other connections as well. One other one, which I think is absolutely brilliant, and I actually got from you, one of you, is just giving people the prompt to choose a question. This only works if people know each other to some degree. They've worked together for some amount of time. But choose a question that you feel like you might be able to answer for another person in the group. And I'm just going to call this Guess Who. So you choose a question that you could maybe answer for somebody else in the group, and then you share your answer, or what you think their answer would be, and then give them a chance to edit and correct what you said. I'm curious, I know why I might like that. What works about that for you?
Choice. Immediately honors choice. People then have an opportunity to say, yes, that's exactly it, or vary it accordingly to their level of comfort. And you can never have too much comfort, you can never have too much choice in any space where you're inviting people to interact and connect.
First of all, an icebreaker that doesn't have choice is much more likely to become an ice maker, right? So you gotta give people autonomy, right? I haven't met a single person who doesn't like to choose what types of conversations they get into, and yet on a remote team, it is essential to genetically modify the structure of a meeting to promote connection, because the environment on mute and alone doesn't foster it naturally. And so you have to have inorganic connection. As the leader, I believe that it's actually your if you're watching this video, it is your responsibility to assume the social risk for people to have some of these conversations. Don't expect them themselves to show up one day and be like, hey, I'd like to offer something about my personal life that will help us communicate more effectively in the future.
No.
It's just not going to happen, right?
You're going to pull back.
The last thing I love about Guess Who, if you're on the fence of trying it out, is it, in a fairly organic way, promotes some really thoughtful, reflective listening. So it's to say, hey, we've worked together for a while. I'm going to flip through and find a question that I feel like is something that I know about you. And then I'm going to try my hand to say, hey, and all you're saying, all the words that are coming out of your mouth are actually just communicating, hey, I know you, I see you, I hear you, I'm glad to be on a team with you, right? Which is very, very useful, but it's doing it in a non-threatening, kind of fun, playful, blue, green, purple kind of way.
Have an awesome day.